Hello YouTube, welcome to my freaking bunker where I've been hiding all this time. And it's been eating all my time being an independent worker, so fortunately I've been kind of inactive, but I'm doing my best to try to keep up with you with all that. I mean, we've hit the 200 subscriber mark. We're at 205 as this video we're shooting, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go forward. I'm gonna work my best to do as many videos as I can. And today, on a Thursday, anyways, it's beautiful, 19 degrees outside. Fuck the bunker. Well, at least besides the video I'm making right now. So, anyways, let's get to it. Speaking of what's the video, well, I'm gonna be debunking a myth that I've seen going on, which was baking your video card in an oven. And some YouTuber, I don't remember the name, I'm pretty sure his first name goes by Lewis, and there's the other guy, Linus, from Linus Tech Tip. Linus has been putting his video card in an oven, and it worked, and then the other guy said, that's not the way it's supposed to be it's supposed to be done. So today what I'm going to do is I'll try to describe my best at what's going on really with video cards, and yeah, a little personal rant at the end, because why not? And yeah, so let's dive into it. First things first, we need some video cards. So we got a 6200 GeForce 6200 TC Turbo Cache. We have a good old ATI Mac, I think it's a Mac 32 ISA video card from 1990. And a GeForce 4 MX4000, as well as this little guy, a memory expansion thingy for the AGP slot. So let's get to it. Okay, so basically the way this one's engineered is basically this GPU has all this inside besides the memory. So what it does basically is the video card's all attached via all these little solder joints right there, solder pads or whatever you want to call it. So it's all wired in. So this GPU is pretty damn well built, and to this day this GPU still works. This video card works very well. So basically there's nothing wrong with those kinds of video cards. So we're gonna put that out of the way and bring this little guy. This little guy has this kind of a Intel, well, any kind of Southbridge chipsets back in the days, and it looks like that, just like that, but it's just a video card. Well, the GPU itself is still hardwired like this fella here inside, but it is connected via a ball grid array. So it's a little cheaper to make this than that, and it's a little more space saving and yada yada yada, all that bullshit. But the problem is, well, those kinds of video cards are still a little prone to failure when you have tiny little heat sinks or tiny little fans that fail, so you gotta watch out on that. But they're not really a big deal. The big deal is this, bastards. These chips come from hell. Seriously. They have BGA right here, which is typical, like the other GeForce 4 here, but there is also BGA in the chip right here. So what happens is, as the video card gets used, from what I can understand, these are the flip chip designs. So technically this, well, let's start with the board itself. The board itself is the motherboard, kind of, put it on quote unquote. This is kind of a GPU quote unquote socket, and this is the GPU itself. So there are BGA connectors under here, and in there, well, according to the graphs I've seen, so there's little solder pads here and here. So that's kind of stupid. Well, I'll explain it. Let me explain why. These BGA grid arrays here have not much of a problem. The problem lies within here. As the GPU gets used, heat rises, expansion, contraption, those little solder pads will, well, break. And what happens is, it'll leave you with a dead GPU, dead video card. The problem is, the die itself is fine. It's the connectors at the bottom The connectors are, well, they crack, and they have epoxy everywhere, so it is there to, you know, keep the the processor itself in a firm position. But unfortunately, heat and everything kind of blows it all out, and yeah. So people, what they would do is that they would put those in an oven, and it would work. Well, the thing is, you expand those little pads, so it expands, makes connection, yay. And then when it cools off, it doesn't work anymore. So that's the problem. It's not here, but it's in here. So the only way to fix this is to get either a new video card or get it replaced. Get that thing replaced at a repair center, which are not very common and could be expensive depending on what it is. I'm not sure. I haven't went into one of those shops, so I'm not the one to say. I'm not the one to know, you know. So this little puppy would actually be dead. Die itself is fine. The connectors are screwed up. These are probably still fine. The problem is when this thing goes away, and you normally would check it out because not much repair centers goes out, the rest of the board is fine. You're killing memory, capacitors, all these inductors, and voltage regulators, yada yada yada, all that bullshit, front and back. So that kind of sucks. These are the new GPUs, so they're staying like this. And with GPUs nowadays, well, especially with this one too, is that if you think the BGAs from the plate itself goes bad, the pressure from the heatsink keeps that from happening, but it doesn't keep this from breaking. So that's why, unfortunately, things break. They suck ass. They suck ass. They suck ass. And now, here comes the oven trick. Now, I've explained all the video cards a little bit in a jargon. I hope you get it. I hope it's well explained anyways. I hope I've explained it that well. But anyways, putting one of those, or even one of those in an oven, what had happened is, one day, I think it was an artifacting GPU or a dead GPU, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it was artifacting anyway, so I saw this oven trick. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's screwed up, so let's try to fix it. Put it in an oven, 375 for 7 minutes. What happened is, well, it didn't get fixed typically, but the capacitors here started to bulge and vent, or what I call fart. Kind of a wet fart, really. So I killed my capacitors while doing that process. And unfortunately, these capacitors are rated anywhere between 80 degrees Celsius to 120. 375 is around 196, so you overheat those things, they bulge, they break. Now you're even stuck with a deader GPU than before. And this thing might have worked or might not have worked, but it is a temporary fix. You're not going to get your GPU fixed permanently via that. So you got to get this thing fixed properly. And in an oven, you could damage other components, which is not really a good thing. Of course, you got to remove the wires, all the heatsink, because if you forget everything, it'll melt, and all the hoopla. Yeah, that sucks. So hopefully this shows that putting a GPU in an oven, in a nutshell, is not a great idea. Such thing as other hardware too. I mean, you wouldn't put this in an oven now, would you? I mean, this is not a flip chip design. Other GPUs like this, even if you did that, it wouldn't work because they're wired specifically into each BGA. So if this one's fried, it's fried that die level, rather than a stupid fucking connector level from that die here to the plate here. These things come from hell. Oh, and yeah, guess what? It doesn't work. It works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't work. So, yeah. Fuck this design. I hate it. Well, as you've noticed, this is a memory expansion card that goes in your AGP slot. Now, the thing is, this has nothing to do with GPUs at all. But it comes to my next one, my next thing, my little rant. Taking this GPU again. Okay, so your GPU goes out, it dies. Your rest of the board's fine, memory's fine, everything's still fine, you know. So you're just having a great board, dead GPU. So what happens? You check that out. What a waste! Why can you have memory expansion, which is great? Why, oh why, can't you have a freaking socket in here instead of having a GPU and having memory either built in or even have an expansion and connect the fucker here. So what gives? I mean, it's just like what, 30 somewhat cents to get a GPU socket, and it costs actually less because you don't have to spend on the processor itself. So you can either go ahead and buy an NVIDIA graphics processor and put it in your car here, as long as the socket fits. So what gives? You know, I mean, if your GPU dies, you can just swap out the die, or you can even upgrade later on, which would be a much better design rather than just having it soldered like this. Hell, even value motherboards had soldered CPUs, and when they overheated, well, bye-bye. The CPU's dead. Board's still fine, but CPU's dead. So this is what I mean by that. This sucks ass. Get rid of it. Fucking ass. Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah, I'm abusing it because, yeah, it works and doesn't work, so fuck it. But you see, you have so much space, and don't get me wrong, you know, this is probably one of the slimmer ones nowadays, but big ass GPUs like GTX 980s and all that, they're freaking huge. They have all this space for a socket. I mean, Intel's LJA 775 or AMD's socket AM3 Plus, or the next one coming up, I think it's what, AM4? They can be as little as this, little as the GPU itself. What gives? What gives? Why can't you make this? This sucks. You should actually make this. A socket fixes everything. What a waste. If the GPU dies, what a waste. Your board's still fine. Anyways, I gotta calm down. I'm starting to get pissed. I mean, it just comes to show, if you can make a memory expansion, I mean, this one's probably from Compaq anyways, you can make that here. You can have either the memory in there already, GDDR5, have the GPUs ready, you know, all the processors on a die, I mean, go in a socket, and they're all compatible with GDDR5, and there you go. And you can just either have it built in, or you can have slots. I mean, that costs less too. I mean, yeah, it's like kind of building a computer motherboard again if you go that way, but in the long run, you can save a lot of money. Especially if you want to, you know, just get started with a I don't know, we'll just say, how about a GTX 950? But then you want to have a 980. Well, there you go. Maybe not all the generations will be the same, who knows, but a different socket will help. You know, everything's fixable, so, what do you expect? So, to me, having a socket would solve a lot of problems and make a lot less waste. So hopefully this answers how GPU dies evolved, and the oven trick being a myth, because really it's not the way to go. And hopefully my little rant could get somewhere. I mean, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. So hopefully you learn something out of it. But if not, I mean, if you already knew that, great. If you didn't quite get something, leave a comment down below. And speaking of that, if you have any questions, comments, anything I've overlooked or not looked at in certain GPUs, please feel free to leave a comment down below. And of course, until next time, take care. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Passive cooling sucks.